Hello, everyone. I can't even hardly believe that we are this far into the year, and it's time for another episode of Growth Groove. Thanks for being flexible. I know my schedule has been a little bit of all over the place, so there have been some times where I've had some webinars on other people's things that have kind of gotten in the way of me live streaming on my own station. So I'm excited to be back right here just for you tonight. So tonight is Growth Groove with Dr. Ericka, which is my signature show. So it comes on 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. And you can always tune in. You're going to get some really great information that's going to help you figure out how to get through everything that's going on. And I like to look at it as I get a lot of inspiration from everyday life and from what's going on in current events and culture. So I'm so excited to be here for you tonight and to do some quality time. So if you're here, do me a favor, drop in, put a little comment in there. Let me know what is going on with you. Just let me know. Just stick it right in there. Now, a couple of housekeeping tips. The first thing is, if you're watching this and you think you know someone that needs this message, you can share. Sharing is caring. The second is, if you know someone that needs this, you can tag someone. The third thing, if you're watching it later, no worries, put hashtag replay. I love to know you're here. And if you have questions later, still put those in there. So thank you so much. So I wanted to hop on tonight, and the topic of the day is 3 populations that you should check on. And what inspired me is we're in a time where connection is like a commodity, that we are dealing with a lot of shifts in human relationships, a lot of ways to get away from feeling isolated due to social distancing. And a good friend of mine, Dr. Jaquel, likes to say, and I like it too, she likes to say physical distancing, because we should still stay socially connected, but we have to stay physically apart to keep everyone safe so that we can make it through this period. Because as we see, COVID hasn't disappeared, and we know we're in a time where there are multiple traumatic things going on, from COVID to the racial injustice that's happening to dehumanize Black lives, along with just the stress of life going on in these times. So life didn't stop, adulting didn't stop, and there are a lot of processes that are significantly changed or even halted due to everything that is going on. So in the midst of knowing that it's important for us to connect, I wanted to give a connection strategy. And this connection strategy is going to be ways we can connect with some people that may be vulnerable or having a difficult time right now. And this allows us to stay socially connected, to continue to build these relationships, but to also fight our loneliness. So we get to help someone else and keep ourselves from feeling lonely, all at the same time. So I hope you're ready to go into this. Just quickly, if you don't know me, I'm your host, Dr. Ericka, double board certified and Harvard trained psychiatrist, along with integrative lifestyle coach. I'm on a mission to help women feel seen, valued, and whole on their own terms. But don't worry about that today. Doesn't matter your gender. I'm just here to help you get through all of this craziness. Yes, I say craziness, with your sanity intact. So let's go ahead and hop to it. So the first group I want to talk about is there's so much going on, racially charged. And I realize I'm not saying this to say that the only group in diverse populations or BIPOC that's important are Black people. But this is a moment that there are a lot of things specifically going on that are significantly affecting the Black community. So the first group of people is Black people. Not just saying that because I'm Black. If you didn't know, I'm Black. As I tell people when they ask me, what are your parents? I say, I am a regular Black. I have a Black mom and a Black daddy. So the reason I say this is, given the racial climate, people were already on edge before this most recent set of killings, and they continue to happen to the point where none of us can even keep up with all of the names and the hashtags. We just can't keep up with all of it. But it's getting to the point where a lot of people are feeling that stress. It's the stress of feeling overwhelmed because we already had this pandemic, and you're just seeing this blatant disregard for Black lives. And under the situation that almost every week someone else is dying at the hands of police, and then someone else isn't getting their justice, and there's no consequence of this behavior, along with just the fact of regular racism isn't gone. So I say check up on your Black folks, because it's difficult. People are struggling every day. It seems like there's someone else that has been uselessly killed, and it's getting to the point where all of them don't actually make major press, because it is so many people. But the thing that makes this different right now is it continues to take away safe spaces. So people may not feel safe at work because they don't know what's going on, and dealing with racism and micro and macroaggressions there. And then with Breonna Taylor, people aren't feeling safe at home. Ahmaud Arbery, they're not feeling safe running down the street. There are just so many instances. People don't feel safe with their kids outside playing because of Tamir Rice. There are just a million things going on that take away all these safe spaces. So some of the Black people you know may not be okay. So this might be a good time to check on them. And that allows you to continue to build these relationships. So you might be wondering, Dr. Ericka, who are we going to talk about next? Well, the next group is someone that I don't know if we spotlighted as much, but it's a great time to check up on the veterans. You know, these are people, they can be people that actually were in combat and non-combat. Part of the reason is that the Veterans Administration system is, let's just say, there are a lot of people trying to get services. It's not always able to provide all of the help that everyone needs, even though it attempts to. And with the latest mail debacles, that in general, vets get their meds by mail. So people may not be necessarily getting their medications, and people that are having other difficulties and feeling traumatized or having difficulties come out. This is just a really good time to check on your vets, because they may not be getting their medicine. They may not be getting as much care because a lot of things have gone all the way to virtual. And depending on how old they are, they may or may not do well with these virtual situations. Because I was even talking to someone recently, and with everything going virtual, and they had difficulty operating a cell phone. Well, that's an issue probably that's happening with a lot of seniors, is that when we've switched a lot of things to digital, it just made it difficult for people that are not technology savvy. The other thing is, with what is going on, it may not be affecting every veteran the same way, but especially Black vets, with dealing with a lot of this racial injustice and these almost assaultive behaviors of police, is that when people have PTSD, they typically can have a symptom, we call it hypervigilance, which means people are on edge and just waiting for the shoe to drop and waiting for something bad to happen, kind of looking over their shoulder all the time. And what happens with someone that was already afraid that something was going to happen, and then they keep hearing people getting shot in their home? It just makes for a situation where people are going to be even more on edge. And with increasing civil unrest, it may also be very triggering, especially for people that were on combat. And thanks, Gino, for your comment, because it is difficult because everyone doesn't have internet, and that impacts also the next group I'm going to talk about, because we have transitioned into school. So the next group is, you need to check on the moms out there, because the number one, the decisions that everyone had to make when it was time to go back to school, if there was an option, whether or not you were homeschooling or virtual schooling, if you were doing a hybrid or you were going in, or if you were in a situation where your child went to school, you had no choice, and what you actually felt was going to be best for your family was not the option that was given. So there have been a lot of hard decisions, a lot of things to balance. For a lot of families, the mom holds the family together and takes care of the home and takes care of the kids. And for a lot of people, they're working moms also. So this is just a lot of transitions, a lot of things on their plate. People are worried about how to keep their family safe, how to do their jobs, how to take care of their kids, how to make sure they're virtual schooling. And if you have young kids, you know it. When you are virtual schooling, you are held hostage with that computer, with that kid. So I can only imagine what it's like if your kid is virtual schooling, you're supposed to be working from home, but you're in front of the computer or by the computer trying to make sure your child is doing their work. So I want to say check on the moms out there. There is a lot going on with the mom load, and the natural tendency for a lot of moms is to err in their personal perception of themselves that they aren't good enough or they've done poorly. So this time can be kind of tough on mom's self-esteem. So I'd love for you to check on moms. Now the next group, so we talked about moms, we talked about Black people, we talked about veterans. The next group is people whose immigration status, they have concerns. Now this doesn't mean simply people that are undocumented. I've also come across folks that were applying for citizenship, or they're in the middle of their visas or other things, because not only are we dealing with the issues of COVID, so a lot of things have just slowed down, and the priorities of getting things done or what has been prioritized isn't always what people may need, especially when it comes to a lot of these immigration related issues. So people can be very, very stressed out. And then on top of that, we're still dealing with issues of ICE. They just aren't talking about it as much, but I haven't heard that all of a sudden all of Latinx is no longer dealing with being locked up somewhere and them taking them kids away. I have not heard it's over. I just have a feeling it's just not high enough in the news cycle. So just remind yourself, there are a lot of people that their citizenship or their status in this country is in flux. So if you know of anyone, this is a great time to just check on them, because it's really stressful. That could be very, very stressful. So thank you for hanging in there. Again, I'm your host. We are talking tonight about 3 populations that you should check on, because you know what? This is a time where it's important for us to stay connected. And while we're staying connected, you might as well check on people that may need a little extra love. So we're going to do just a quick recap, and then I'm going to get you out of here on this Tuesday night. So the first thing is check on Black folks, because a lot of us are not okay. The level of racial injustice on top of the level of stress from COVID, it's just a hot mess. It is complicated. It is difficult. Please check on your Black folks. Please check on your peeps. This is a great time. Reconnect. Just make sure everybody is okay. Then the next thing is check on your vets, combat and non-combat. People are waiting on their meds. They're trying to get into the VA. A lot of these situations that are going on right now can be very triggering to people that have had trauma. So I just want you to check on your vets, even your young vets. It doesn't have to just be the old vets. Check on all the vets. The next thing is check on moms. It is hard out here in mom life right now, dealing with virtual school, keeping your family together, keeping your family safe, dealing with all the shifts of responsibilities, trying to work and take care of these kids, especially when they're home all day, and dealing with the stress of trying to keep your family safe. So I'd say check on the moms. The bonus was check on anybody that you know that may have an immigration concern. They probably aren't okay either, because it is extremely stressful and so many things are in flux, and the priorities of government agencies aren't always aligned with helping everyone get their immigration status in check. So please check on them. So again, thank you all so much for coming. I feel all the love. I appreciate you spending time. Oh, my dad said check on his church pewmates. I know I only did 3. There are plenty of people to check on. But yes, check on your church pewmates, and if there's someone you're used to talking to and you realize you don't hear them or you don't see them anymore, go ahead and check on them. Somebody that usually posts all the time on Facebook or IG, and you notice they've kind of gone radio silent. This might be a good time to check on them. This is just a great time for us to exercise empathy and to reach out and to connect with each other. It helps keep us from being isolated, but it also helps fight the isolation and loneliness of others. So that's what I got for you tonight. Thanks again for coming on. I'm your host, Dr. Ericka, double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm on a mission to help women feel seen, valued, and whole on their own terms. Doesn't matter your gender today. If you're stressed out or just need a little checkup, I do have a telepsychiatry practice. Go to askdrgoodwin.com, askdrgoodwin.com, and you can come on over and check me out and get a little checkup. Sometimes people just need a mental health checkup. They don't even need a whole lot of treatment. But my personal thought about medication is minimal medication for maximum effect. So go on ahead and hop over. And if you need it, if you or someone you know is stressed out or having a difficult time, there's the suicide hotline info. So thanks again and have a great night.